on, we now will be continuing to our next stage, um, which is groups and subtotals. So what groups and subtotal does is, if you have a large data set, for instance, you have this. Um, go back to my dummy data again. I have all this data set. This is more like a sales data set for region, country, item type, sales channel, order price, order date, order ID, and so on. Then I have units sold, I have unit price, unit cost, total revenue, and so on. And then you were told to give a summary of this data set. Either you, your boss, a colleague, anyone is saying, can we have, now usually in any sales ledger or any inventory book or whatever, data just comes in. This looks more like a daily sales report, as sales occur for each day. As sales occur for each day, it is being imputed. This is what it looks like. Now, you are now being told, give us a summary by region, or by country, or by item type, or by sales channel, or even by dates. You can either try to sort, resort, and so on. I'm going to show us two quick methods of getting this done. The subtotal method. Then I'm going to also share a formula that's actually I kind of use that too, which I think is also going to be very, very useful. So if you have this, let me just make a copy. And these are my headers. So I want to subtotal by, let's say, country. Do we even have Nigeria here? Nigeria, my country. Wow. Sorry. Whoever generated this dummy data doesn't remember Nigeria. Too bad. And this is sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, fine. Okay, so uh, assume Nigeria is in Australia and Oceania region. So Nigeria is Tuvalu. Sounds Nigerian word. Okay, sorry about that. So we want to check the summary of units sold by country, right? Now, when you are working with subtotals, your first step should be to just sort by the parameter you want to use. Now, our parameter in this case is country. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the custom sort. If you don't know sorting, then just flow on. So I'm going to sort by country. Remember, my data headers, if it's a table, then it's automatically there, but this is not a table, it's just a list. So I have country, then so I sort by country. And so fine, I have my list of country: Cameroon, Djibouti, East Timor, Fiji, France, and thereabout. So my next move now is to go to the data tab and then click on subtotal. It's actually very simple. So the first section here is at each change in, so that is at each change in my parameter again, which is country. At each change in country, then what exactly do I want to achieve? You have sum, you have counts. If you just want to have a count of the items, or you want to add up the items, so you use sum. If you want to get the average, you want to get the max, the mean, the product, which is multiplication, count of numbers, and so on and so forth. So here I'm going to use sum. And then you are going to say replace current subtotals, summary below data, and then don't let us miss it part, very important. I want the subtotal under where the particular column I want my my summary to be, the subtotal summary to be. So let me just highlight this, just we could see it Okay, I think blue will be a fine color. So I want my subtotal under the unit suit at each change in country. That is what it means. So, so it means that for each change in country, Excel is going to add up. For each change year, it's going to add up. For each change year, it's going to add up. For each change year, pardon me, it's going to add up. So back again, my data tab, subtotal, at each change in country, I want it to sum up, not total profits, or if, unless you want to use total profits, but by item type. I think I can share this dummy data with us. Let me just quickly do that as well. France dummy sales record. Then let me also quickly network disconnect. Send. Can we? I just want to confirm if we can hear me. I'm having, looks like my own network is.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Maybe I couldn't send the file, so I was wondering if I'm having network issue. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's just continue. Um, so at each change in, sorry, add a subtotal to unit sold, and then I click OK. And so that's it. You can see the Angola total, Australia total. This is an addition of everything under Australia, 12995, and so on. You can click this button here to have, a kind of a summary here. So that's just basically much about it, about subtotal, and then you can, extract your data and move it elsewhere. The other part which I also use is this. So again, let me just copy. So my sales record 3, I think I should just create another sheet here. I'm done with this. I'm also done with this. So is using this formula. I just want to mention this also. You can also make use of a formula, and not just that, it's just part of also showing us one or two formulas which are also as important. So so for instance, I have this data here with me, and I want to get, as usual, the sum for each country by unit sold and whatever parameter, whatever sum I want to get. So if I, sorry, so what I will do is copy this. So it all depends on you which one you feel is more easier for you. So I bring everything here. Now it's not necessary that you have to copy from your file. I'm copying because I want to have all the countries here, right? Then let me just sort out the data properly. I remove the duplicates so that I just want to have a list of countries to value: Grenada, Kyrgyzstan, Kyrgyzstan, Cape Verde, Bangladesh, blah, blah, blah. Good. Now, I can use the sum if formula. So what the sum if formula does is, okay, let me do this. Just in case we have beginners in the class, sum if. You know, this is where you continue with your formula button, right? This is sum. This is where you continue with your formula button. So, but the formula I want to use is the sum if. I double click it. You can either type in directly or, but let me just use this. So I pick the range, which is the range of cell I want evaluated. When checking your formulas, you can just go through here. And then my range is going to be country. My criteria, the criteria is the particular cell or the particular word you want evaluated. These are sum if work. It says sum if sum this particular range or check this range of items based on if you see this particular text or you see this particular cell, then add up this other range of items, both in the same data set or both in the same sheet or for the same row. I don't know if you get my grammar, but I will explain again. So my criteria is going to be this one here, to value. You can either enter it to value, to value, to value. You can either enter it, directly, but I think it's best, but it depending, it's best you, because we are going to, it's not going to be the only cell we'll be working on. We'll also be working on the other cell here. So I'd rather make use of the cell reference. And then you have a sum range. And then I'll go back to the same data set containing the range which I picked initially, and then I select this range, unit sold, right? And that's it. I click OK. So it gives me 9925. That is the total sum of anywhere it finds to value in this particular column. It will add up the unit sold. So anywhere you have to value, another to value, it's going to add it up. I guess there's only one to value here. Let's continue for, let me drill down the formula, and then as you can see. So the reason why sometimes maybe this works, if for instance you, let me explain why I use this more, is if, because we formularize this section, it means that now if you check our formula, we pick B to B, I to I. I to I means everything on this column. I mean, B to B, everything on column B, I to I, everything on column I. So as long as anything is changing here, so for instance, if I enter another to value here, and I enter 1000, I just updated. I can come down to the end of the sheet to do that, to value again. This is my unit sold, I guess, and I enter 500. What automatically happens here is my to value changes, So instead of me having to probably repeating this process, anytime I want to get a summary, you easily could use this formula, right? With this formula, whenever this is being updated, then automatically, whenever this sheet is being updated, then automatically your summary data is also being updated. So I guess you now see why I kind of like this. The other one too is there and it's fine, but I kind of, this kind of make it static for me, gets it done with, and that's it. So as long as this data is being updated, here is also, changing. And so that's that for group and subtotal, summarize figures by count. And don't forget, you can also do the count function as well. Count if, using count if rather than sum if. Um, okay. Any quick question before I just continue? Don't let me just rush. I think I don't know if I'm a bit fast, but just open the chat. Okay, so no quick question. I guess we should continue. Okay. Do we have to copy the data into a new sheet, or it automatically copies? Okay. Let me see if I can unmute. Oh, for the if it's for the formula option, you don't need to copy. That's why I said I love it. I make use of it more than this one, because this one you have to work on the data right there and then you copy, and then when the data changes, nothing else, you have to start the process all over again. But for this one, if you can see, I'm not copying anything, I just have it there. If I increase, let's pick Grenada, for instance. Grenada presently is 2804. This is just as if this is the Excel file we are working on. And then maybe tomorrow, someone enters, another data there again, household, offline, blah, 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 like that. Remember, our Grenada is 2804, and then the person just updated 1000. Automatically, that should change our Grenada to 3804, isn't it? And that's it. I come here, my Grenada has increased. No need to, you don't need to update this anymore. That's basically what it means. Your summary will just be changing just as you are working on the data. Your summary just updates itself automatically. It's very automatic. It's the reason why I love it. So once again, um, I think what I should just do is to run through. It's a formula, and it's the sum if formula, which is equals to sum if. Don't forget sum if. Now you can either pick the range, and to be specific again, like I said, if you want to ensure that it's picking everything, you can make sure you select the whole column. Make sure you select the whole column so that everything on this column is going to add it up. Unless you want to limit it to a specific range, then you can limit to a specific, but it's if you are not, then select the whole column, which is going to be to B, right? So that is the range. And then my criteria is going to be this particular cell that you want it, which is the parameter that you want it to add up for. It's going to add up everything on this range for this criteria, more or less like filtering for this criteria here, and which is, you can, like I said, you can add it in text, Grenada, but best if you enter the cell reference, which is A3, A3, and then another comma, and then the range, which is now going to be the corresponding row for the figures or the numbers or the amount that you want to add up. Again, it's best you pick everything for that column, except when you just want to limit it to from a particular row to a particular row. But if not, just have it high to high. That's what it means, and then close up the formula. Something happened here. Some sheet A3. 5. Sorry, the cell reference wasn't picking. The sheet wasn't picking along with the cell. So, but I hope we get the gist. Some if for this range, right? The criteria is again A3, right? And then for this range, 100 sales record for that sheet again, and that should be it. So as you can see, so let me open the formula this thing for us so that we can see the range. Sorry. So you can see the range again. If you are not familiar with just entering formulas directly, I always say, look, just come use the box. Use the box. There's no, everybody uses. If you come here, for instance, you remember sum if, just time sum if, it's going to search it for you. Click go or click enter. It's going to pick it up, double click it, then continue. So all you just need to remember is sum if. Entering the formula is not hard. Let me take it all over again. Click here, type sum if you can't remember, or if you see the function here, just select it. But if you, in case it's showing you something else there, so either you scroll or just type the formula here to search sum if. It brings it out, double click, and then select your range. Your range is the the section that you want it to access, which is this whole range. Just come to the listing and select it. Then your criteria is under your summary sheet. The criteria is going to be, I want it to access for, Grenada, for instance. And then your sum range is the figure or the amount you want it to add up. Good. And you click OK, and that's it. We are done. So it's this really, I say it again, this really helps. I mean, it has really helped me, and I'm sure it's going to be useful to someone there. So I guess I hope that answers your question. So let's move on to the next slide again, and that is VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. If I've not missed anything here. Okay. So now for VLOOKUP, like I said, I use VLOOKUP a lot. HLOOKUP, I'll show you. I'm not going to spend much time with it. I hardly use it, but I'll show you what it's all about, and probably maybe someone else will have a better idea of why HLOOKUP could be important. But I'll just rush through it. But the VLOOKUP, I know that one is as important as anything. Yes, I mean, it's common, very common. HLOOKUP, good. We'll check it out also again. So what does VLOOKUP does? So if in your math, you remember intersection of sets, where is this inside this or this not in this, right? You have the group set, or you have the main master set, and then you want to pick an intersection. So you have the master set, for instance, and then you have how will I explain this in Excel? I would have loved to draw it. So but don't worry, my internet connection is stable. Okay, this is what I'm saying. So you have what I'll call the master records here. We have the master records. I don't know if this will be very so useful for me, but it will anyway. It won't be so useful, but we'll make use of it. But let me do this. Sorry, the reason why I'm considering if this record will be very, because it has duplication. For VLOOKUP, duplication is it's a no-no. Duplication is a no-no, because the system is going to be a bit, Excel is going to be a bit confused, or you won't get the appropriate data. Let me put it that way. Let me see if there are names here. There are no names here. So what I'm going to do is this. Take this out. let me just give a brief overview of VLOOKUP. So you have a master set belonging to people and so on. And then you want to compare two data sets. This is where it becomes very useful and interesting. You want to compare two data sets. So for instance, I'm going to create two data sets by each one. I have country. First, let me do this again. Create a copy. Let me think about it so it doesn't confuse it. So let's look at this. Now, let me remove duplicates here first. I just want to prepare the data for each let me use country. You can have the same region or select all. Okay, so I have unique countries here. Now, assuming, this is sales records. I'm just going to do some changes to, let me pick the other ID, other dates, blah, blah, blah. So let me assume that these are sales amounts, right? Sales amount, good. Now, for these items, I think I should use, let me use item type. That will make more sense. We're going somewhere. Please, just pardon me. Remove duplicates. My data has errors by item type. Okay, smaller, but fine. So this is my sales records. Just watch. Remember, when you sell, you also have inventory. You know that. It means you sell what you have. So it means you most likely you have the front desk person who records in our sales book, which is this. She has recorded in our sales book, which is this. Then you now have the inventory, someone who is at the back end who keeps a log of each inventory. So assuming that this sheet here is SHEET, is our sales book, more like a summary of our sales book because it's unique. Baby food, cereal, office supplies. Let me assume that this is all for one single day. Please just ignore this other date or the ship date. That this is for today. This is what we sold. We sold 995 baby food, 2,804 series, 1,779 office supplies, and so on. Good. Let us create our summary of our inventory. This could be for a month. Let's assume this is for a month. Let's assume this is for a month. Great. So this is our inventory. Good. Now let me tweak this inventory number a bit. Let me just tweak this equals to this minus 5. I want to see you to see what I'm doing instead of using a shortcut. I'm pasting, right? So this is my inventory book. I hope you can see. And then this is my sales book. Sales inventory. Sales inventory. So now, at the end of the day, the inventory manager gave you this data. This is everything I released for the month. Baby food, cereal, office supplies, blah, blah, blah. Then the sales manager, sorry, this is the inventory manager showing you inventory is in blue. Nope. Inventory is in blue. That's not blue enough. What's blue enough? Let's manage it. And then sales is in black. So and then the sales manager gave you all of this. This is what we sold, madam, for the month, or this is the data you have available. And then this is units issued. Yes, units issued for the month. Now, what do you need to do? You probably, your next step is to compare between units and what was issued and what was sold, isn't it? Now, on a normal day, if you probably have 1,000 of these, you now have to start, maybe doing a manual method of saying, where is baby food? This is baby food. Sometimes these people, whoever is submitting that data to you, might not even arrange it by date or whatever. And then you now have to start saying, okay, this is baby food minus this and blah, 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 like that. No. What you can do, this is where VLOOKUP comes in. You can use it for more complex, but let us start simple this way. So I have my unit issued and I have my sales. So to make it easy for me, sharp, all I need to do is this. I use VLOOKUP to pick out anywhere I have baby food against baby food in sales and return this amount for me, this column for me. So what I can do is either I can start with the sales book and say sales amount, right? And then I apply the VLOOKUP function and say equals to VLOOKUP. It's a formula actually, but it's an inbuilt Excel formula. And then again, let me go this method. Come here. Just remember to search for VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. Good. So yeah, I pick VLOOKUP. This is the formula. Now, before we continue here, there's a specific rule you need to understand. And the rule is this: just like your set, whatever you are intersecting or whatever item is going to be the unique, there has to be a unique, like first thing, like I mentioned earlier, is your data has to be unique, which means you can't have baby food here. It's not going to work. You have to find a way of making it unique. I'm going to show you that anyway. I'm going to show you that. I'll likely show you that how you can actually make your data a bit unique. Your data has to be unique. Sorry, running too fast. Your data that you want to assess against has to be unique. So this is what it means. If, for instance, I want to check my inventory against my sales record, it means my analysis or my comparison has to be done here inside this master file that is not unique. But the one I am assessing against has to be unique. Again, let me repeat myself. If I am checking, I want to get sales amounts here. This is my sales ledger, and I want to check for inventory. My sales against my inventory, because I'm checking sales, I want to pick items from inventory into this my sales book here. It means whatever sheet, wherever sheet I am bringing these figures from, have to be unique. My sales does not necessarily have to be unique. What it means is for this master file I have here, this is not unique. As you can see, the item type I have here is not unique. So it means I can check against this place. I can say inventory. Inventory is that I'm checking against is what has to be unique. The one I am assessing for does not necessarily have to be unique. Why? Because it will simply go and pick any item. It will search, for instance, baby food, and return any figure I have here for baby food and return it here. I hope that's noted. Now, second thing to note is this: in the way Excel VLOOKUP works, is this: the column that you are assessing against has to be the first column in that particular range or data set. Let me explain again. So now, for instance, I want to compare, I'm on my inventory tab, and I want to compare against my sales tab.
You can solve it now.
What happens is this: if I'm comparing against my sales tab, then I want to compare baby food, which means I want to pick baby food and return. I want to search. I want the Excel to search for baby food in my sales and return the number of my sales amount into this place. Then this column, which I am intersecting against, has to be on the first column of the range. I don't know if you get that. It must be on the first column of the range. I can't. Now, when I said of the range, I'll explain later. But let us get this one first. It means if I'm checking baby food against baby food here, it must be here. This baby food that I'm checking against has to be on the first column of whatever item I am selecting. Now, if you have gotten that, let me explain further on that. If, for instance, I have country, so if, for instance, I have country here, and I want to assess against the item type. Now, country item type is no longer the first column on this data sheet. It means that when I'm selecting my range, I'm only going to select it this way. I hope you get that. That was why I was mentioning range. So I think I have to mute somebody. Who else do I need to mute again? Mute all. Great. I'm on mute. So I hope we get what I'm saying. It's not compulsory. It has to be the first column on the sheet, but it has to be the first column in the range you are going to select. When we work on the formula, you understand what I'm saying. So it has to be the first column in the range which we are going to select. You can either select the range like this. I like selecting range like this anyway, or the particular range like this. I hope we get that. It is very, 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 and again, very, very important. Okay, so let's go back. What do I want to do? I want to pick. Remember, this can be scattered. It doesn't matter. I can sort this by. So this is scattered. So you don't need to arrange or whatever. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is let it be unique. Note number one, be unique. The item you are assessing against has to be unique. Note number two, it has to be the first column on the range which you are going to select. So let's come to our inventory. Now what I want to do is to compare my sales with the units issued. I'm now on my inventory tab. My inventory tab is active, and I have the inventory manager has given me my units issued 9927 and whatever for each of these items. I want to simply pick the sales amount from this sales data that the sales manager has supplied to me and then make my comparison. So again, let's do it this way. VLOOKUP, double click here, and then you select the lookup value. So my lookup value is going to be this baby food, A2. And then the table array is the range. The range. You know, I was emphasizing on the range. My table array is this range here. If I pick from here, because I am assessing against the item type, my table array will be incorrect. It has to be from here. So it doesn't matter if your item type is on column B, C, D, E, just ensure it is on the first column. And I can also select this way, as long as it is on the first column. If it's now on the first column of a data sheet, then you can pick everything on your data sheet. So again, I bring it here. Now, the column index number is the index number of the figure or the cell or the column you want to bring here under the sales amount. Let me show us the column index number. Now, remember again that in your range, which is starting from B, your range is starting from B. Don't forget that. So that means your column index number is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales amount. Starting from B, which is the first column in the range you have selected, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my column index number is going to be what? 5. That is the cell I want to return, or the sales amount in a particular example that I want to bring here. So that's for that. And then my range lookup, right, is going to be false. And then you click OK. And so what it has done is to bring your data for baby food. Yeah, where's baby food? 9925. And the rest is easy. You simply drag down and Excel does the rest. And so with that, we can easily do what? Make a comparison. And you know one good thing about formulas in Excel is they always auto update again. So I can now say, how much did the sales manager say he sold minus what was issued. So I can see a variance of 5555555. So as long as, if for instance, let me relate it back to the sum if we did. So if for instance you've created a summary of your sum if function, it's just that we don't have enough time. I would have loved to bring the sum if that I did, the summary function that we mentioned earlier. This is where you indirectly build a broad spreadsheet. Let me put it that way, a broad spreadsheet that is automatically updating itself. So remember, we talked about group and subtotal. So for instance, let me now give you just a practical picture to see how practical this thing is. If you, for instance, you have your inventory record, which you've told whoever is managing your inventory or you yourself, you're always updating for every inventory. Let me even start from data validation. You've created a list. Every day that list or that data, that Excel spreadsheet, maybe your inventory sheet, is being updated on a daily basis. Date, item type, the amount, and the date that was issued for that day. Bam, you've done that. Same thing for sales. You record everything. So on a daily basis, it is being recorded. On a daily basis, it is being recorded. Just have this picture in your, in your imagination, that you have this sales recorded, being recorded on a daily basis, being recorded on a daily basis. You've created a summary for each item with the sum if, using the sum if to add up all the amounts, right? So you also have your inventory. Let me assume this is also the inventory, same, also being updated on a daily basis. You've created a summary for it, and everything is adding up. So you have two summaries, one for your sales, one for your inventory. And then you can now use the VLOOKUP again to do a comparison for the two using the sum. In fact, either you use VLOOKUP, at that point you might not use VLOOKUP. If you want, you can also use VLOOKUP to compare again between the two of them. So basically, you just come into Excel file and then you are checking how much has been issued at, how much has been sold. And you can use it also to compare, going deep down to derive how much is left in my inventory, how much do I, at what point do I need to restock. If you are using conditional formatting, you can use conditional formatting to select, if it is below a certain amount, put a particular arrow or highlight it in red, something like that. So conditional formatting is going to tell you on that single sheet again that, hey, you are running out of stock. Do we get the flow now? Time will not permit us to, and I've just done a full master sheet for us, and we can see how all these things interwork with each other. Just like I said, there are things that you probably will be using on a day-to-day basis. So first thing is that from your list, you've been able to create a list that ensures that whatever the sales manager is entering in the item type is also the same thing that the inventory manager is entering. In fact, both can pick from the same drop-down list as their item type. So it means that we have a structured data that is speaking from the same source. And then we move on to conditional formatting. We've already learned about conditional. I'll just come back to it quickly. And then we did a summary. We can subtotal everything for that month or for that year. We can even subtotal by date and so on to have a summary of what is going on, which is automatically updating itself also. Now we have a summary of our sales, we have a summary of our inventory, we have the variance, we can calculate the variance, and then we can use conditional formatting to tell us that if my inventory is falling, if my inventory count is falling below so number, conditional formatting, just give me at a glance. So all I just need to do is when I look at, I see everything highlighted in red, I know I'm falling short of this particular item and I need to restock and stuff like that. And that can be applied in any other, business scenarios and so on using an Excel sheet. So just let me ask if we have any quick question again on that. Before we move to the next listen. Okay, I was going to show us HLOOKUP. So I hope we understand how the VLOOKUP function. This is just a simple demonstration of VLOOKUP. You can also use VLOOKUP in a contacts management file. So for instance, you have a list of contacts and you want to arrive at, let me put it this way. For instance, you have the sales records. But each of these actually apply to, different people. Zion, Tolu, George, Zion again, Bolu, Raphael, Emeka, Adamu, Zion, like that and like that. However, on this particular sheet, I don't want to mess up this. I just want to demonstrate again. So on this particular sheet now, let me see, Zion, Bolu, Raphael, Emeka, Adamu. I have their address. I have more like, say, a master file of all these customers, their address. Now, remember, for instance, your sales manager might not have to enter every detail, the customer name, the order ID, amount, and then enter address again. There's no need for all of that. But you have a master file where you have challenge way one, Ebi Peju, lane 2, Edidi, lane 3, mainframe records. I don't know if this name sounds familiar to some people. And 1, Ayinla house. Right? So on this is more like a master file for me. I have the customer and their address and probably their emails and whatever. Now I want to update this sales record to say, okay, at the end of the day, let me check this customer. Yeah, this the data I'm working. This customer, let me bring their address to this particular sheet. Remember, like I said, this one does not have to be unique. It is what you are setting against that should be unique. So it means a good way to do it will be using VLOOKUP again. I'm indirectly recapping, showing the VLOOKUP function this time around again. And then I said my VLOOKUP value, I want to check against name. Then my table array, as usual again, this is my table array. And then the column index, I want to return the address. That is 1, 2, 2. And then it should be false. And that's it. So this brings the address and populate the address into this particular thing for me. Challenge with VLOOKUP 83 sheet 982 to B6. Okay. I hope we know how to do this. To make your formula static, for those who don't know, to make your formula static, you add a $sign to each. Again, sorry. Oh, no, it's here. The A does not need to change. It is the number that needs to stay. Okay, Tolu and the rest are not on that particular file. But usually, if you had done the A to B, then it's just going to stay that way anyway. So Tolu is Muoleru Avenue. Muoleru Avenue. Sorry, I hope nobody's bearing Tolu here. And then Niger House of Commotion. House of Commotion. Again, why I love doing A to A. It means I have to expand my range. My range is now 6 and 7. Yeah. So again, A1 to B7. B8. Good. So as you can see, so it means if, for instance, I'm the sales manager and my boss just said, look, give me a list of every item you sold, and I want to see their address. I mean, I want to so and instead of me having to pick Zion, go and look for the master file, pick the address here, then see Zion again somewhere, look for the man, copy paste and whatever. I just simply use VLOOKUP to populate everything down for me if I have the master file here. Now, this, let me also show us this, which I do encounter, usually. It is like I mentioned earlier, the first thing is your data has to be unique. But most times, you really don't have unique data. So for instance, if we look at this, these names, sometimes these names might not be unique enough. Names could be scattered, especially depending on the data and so on. So what I usually do is just a simple trick I do, especially when I want to make my data unique, is I look for something that will make it unique, especially when, for instance, you are comparing, the inventory manager gave you these records. He gave you this record, region, country, item type, and so on, right? Let me give you this scenario. You have this data here. This is not unique. Please, just listen. To value on 28/5/2010, we sold 9925 to value. To a country to value. Let me assume these are customers. Let me just assume this customer name. This is a customer. I do encounter this a lot. Now I have customer to value. We sold 9925 to him. In the inventory record, I also have to value. I mean, basically we issued to value whatever number. But you also still have to value, you know, there, Grenada 2 or 3 times and so on. But what you want to compare is the to value of that day with the to value of the to value of today is different from the to value of tomorrow. The to value of tomorrow is different from the to value of next tomorrow. But yet you want to compare the to value of today in the sales record to the to value of tomorrow in the sales of today in the inventory record. Let me repeat that, sorry. The to value of today, whatever that was issued for today, against whatever that was issued for the same today in another in the other record. So the best thing to do is going to take us to this. I've missed something in my, okay. I've missed something somewhere, and that is concatenate, combination or whatever. It means for me to make that comparison, I will have to combine to value plus something to make it unique. It's just a trick. It's not really a knowledge thing. It's a trick. So what I would do before we go into HLOOKUP is I am going to combine these two items together. Don't mind what I just did there. I'm just trying to emphasize this and this. I'm going to combine them. So by the time I combine to value, let me take, for instance, I have Russia is not, it's France. That's strange. Don't worry. Sorts A to Z. So for instance, I have Bulgaria. Look at this. I have Bulgaria. But as you can see, Bulgaria 23rd of April, Bulgaria 16th of February. If I just do a VLOOKUP Bulgaria, it's going to be wrong. So in order to have a unique item, what I do is combine this Bulgaria plus this Bulgaria. And then combine this another Bulgaria plus this plus this Bulgaria. And that will give me something unique. Then I can use this to compare in the inventory record also, I know my Bulgaria of 23rd of April against another Bulgaria of, of another day. Or you can also do combination with the other number. You just have to find something that will make your data unique within similar data. Something to make it unique. That's all I'm trying to to point out here, to make us understand that even when your data is not really unique, find something to make it unique within it, and then you can now use your VLOOKUP to make your comparison. I hope we get that. So I'm going to just quickly show us concatenation, and so I know we've knocked that off our list. Basically, it's in part of what I mentioned we're going to learn. So let us just quickly concatenate. Now, there are two ways of concatenation. There's concat, there's concatenation. I'm not taking time to understand why they are different, but they are the same. And then there is and. I'm just going to show us those two steps actually. So first thing is the default formula concatenate. Concatenate means to combine, to join, blah, 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 like that, to unionize, whatever. So I have this Bulgaria, add a comma, and then this, it's also a formula. As you can see, I have this Bulgaria 23.4. Now, I also could do this equals to Bulgaria, press the and keyboard. This is it. And you still have it. So you can see it was basically the same way. Either you use the hand, look at what we have here, the hand sign, or you use the formula. Again, if you are not so, if you want to go the old-fashioned way here, look at it here. You click this formula sign, search for concats. Okay, concatenate, and that's it. So you can select this item. You can select more. You can select different, items to combine, and that's it. Another thing you can also do, remember, is you can space. You can add items that are not within cells. So let's do it again. Concatenate. Let me show you from here. You select this. If you want to make it more presentable, you can put a space. I added a space here, and then I select this. I click OK. You can see this looks finer, isn't it? Again, I can do this rather than a space. I can put a space. I can enter something here, or I can enter a text on Bulgaria on this, and then click OK. Now, you can see I need to add a space again. So I can either add a space in between the on, just make sure it is all within the double column. Click OK, and that's it. So that's just more about concatenation, combining two cells and thereabout. And you can combine more than one cells. That, like I said, let me combine with the other number for this, for order ID, put a space and come to this place here. So Bulgaria on this for order ID. I need a space here. So that's just about concatenation. So remember, we came into this because we wanted to use it to, to conjoin. So let's me quickly rush through H lookup. So when you've been able to concatenate your items, then you can, it's indirectly, you have created a unique column, which you can now use to access your VLOOKUP data against. Let's quickly do an H lookup. So VLOOKUP, the V there is vertical, and basically this is vertical, horizontal is this way, vertical is this way, horizontal is this way, right? Now, if for instance, I want to, now, when we're doing VLOOKUP, we checked against items based on the column, isn't it? For HLOOKUP, you are going to be checking against items here based on the header. Let's get into it. So if you have, we're meant to go on break, but I would say we can, do we skip break, so that we can, just finish up, and because time is not really on our side. But if anyone want to go on break, please just notify so that we can take a decision on that, right? So we can just take a decision. Okay. So, but I just feel maybe we could, just quickly finish up, and then we can close. So, but just in case, let's just notify on the chat box, and then we just agree. Okay, let's go on break. No problem about that. Okay, so we're going to have this. Well, okay, now what we want to do is HLOOKUP, isn't it? So here we have equals to. Should I scatter this data? So let me explain the HLOOKUP thing as much as I can. We have, initially we did VLOOKUP by column. The HLOOKUP, we're going to be doing it more by row, also by more by the column header and by row. That's basically what it means. Now, so for instance, I want to get my sales for Bulgaria, for customer Bulgaria. Let me just use this. I want to get for item type what I sold for Grenada, and I want to derive the order ID for Grenada. I want to derive, I want to get for Grenada, I want to get the order ID. What will I do? I come to my HLOOKUP again. Yeah. So let me just, it doesn't really matter, but let's just pick. Do I have Grenada here? Order ID for blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let me try item type, cosmetics. I want to get the order ID for cosmetics. The order ID for cosmetics. So I'm going to use the HLOOKUP function equals to H. It can be anywhere on the cell. It can be anywhere on the cell. But I just want to put it here. It can be anywhere on any cell. It's not a function of whatever you have in your corresponding cell. H lookup. So the lookup value, what I want to look up for, again, let's come here. Is the value to be found in the first row of the table. So the first row of the table, again, I want to look for cosmetics, right? And then the table array, again, do I have order ID here? Sorry. Right? And then the row index number. Now I have to go and look for the row index number, which is this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The row index number is 7. And then the range lookup is false. Not available. Sorry, something's wrong with my formula, definitely.
It's not so.
True. You have to pardon me. I hardly use HLOOKUP again. Sales, I've missed something somewhere, which is meant to be the header. The lookup value is should be
It's six.
this
The index number is six.
order ID table array. So this 4191. Let me confirm that. Cosmetics is 41912397. Yeah, 419123. So that's it. So let me just explain that again. The lookup value will be the column header. The column header is the lookup value. Just like I explained, we want to search for cosmetics. We want to find the order ID for cosmetics. Are you getting it? So your lookup value is going to be the column header that you have there that you are looking for. Remember again, the question is, what is the order ID for cosmetics? So my order ID is what I'm going to put here, and then the table array as usual. Then the row index number, which we are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you are going to input it there. Then your range lookup true, and then you click OK. And that is it. So where HLOOKUP will be more useful to you is if, for instance, look at a record like this. If, for instance, you have your record that is more on the horizontal side. When I mean more on the horizontal side is you have records that extend down, 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 on and on like this horizontally. And probably just few vertically. Then you probably will want to make use of your HLOOKUP to search, because it will be easier for you to count index number that way. So that's I'm not a fan of HLOOKUP, sorry. So that's for that. If I want to drill down for maybe cosmetics, did I use this sales B1, inventory B1, and so on? If I want to drill down, so basically this is saying order ID. This won't fly because so I need this table array, the row index number, and so on. So if I also want to search, like I said, this could be anywhere. It's actually not a function of anything I have here. It's actually not a function of everything, so I'm unable to drill down on this formula. But that is how that's basically about that, about HLOOKUP. I'm afraid I might not be able to go deep down. It's not something I have extensive familiarity with. It's kind of limited in my own opinion. So any question before we move to the next? We've done groups and subtotal, HLOOKUP, if and or not. I think we can quickly rush through this, and then if also we can just quickly rush through this. These are basically formulas, but they are also kind of useful. Any quick question before let me check the chat. Okay, no question on the chat. So I would proceed on to the logical functions: if, and, or, not. They are formulas, and they are quite simple. So let's assume, okay, every one of us passed through secondary school, and if you don't, I'll suggest you go and do so that when you want to run for president of this country, they are not going to, ask you or query you or so you still have time to sort it out so that nobody's going to use it against you. Um, don't worry, even if you have not gone to university or if you have or whatever, it is only when you present it or you have issues with it. But if you don't have it, just leave it. Leave it. The minimum, in fact, even if you don't have a certificate for your secondary school, you just have to pass through it. You don't necessarily need to. Sorry, that's just a bit sorry, apologies for the digression. Okay, what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to take us back to the secondary school days. I remember at some point it was changed, then it was ABC. I can't remember, I'm not so sure. It was ABC and then it was changed again. They now had A, B plus, C plus, and all those jargons that they added again at some point. So now back to school days. If, for instance, you have a list of students, I think we mentioned an example of school. I can't remember. So let's just use these same guys as our students. Zion, Bolu, Raphael, Emeka, and blah, blah, blah. Right? Now, these guys have their score in maths. Nope. Name and then the subjects. The subjects, maths, English, biology. I think these are the compulsory subjects. Yes, compulsory subjects. Okay. So Zion, Bolu, Raphael, Emeka, blah, blah, blah. And then we have this course. No, they call it, sorry, pardon me. The range or scores or grade. So you have A, B, C, D, then you have E, then you now finally have F. At some point, it was just A, C, E, A, C, D, or thereabout. So this let my people go, Abby, and they are still going. And then you have E. This is just past B. And then you have so A, B, C, D, E, F. Now you have 1,000 students. Each of them have their score, blah, 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 like that. So maths, Zion, I scored 95. Are you thinking about it? In English, I scored 95. But in biology, well, I tried. I scored 85. Yes. Bolu scored 30. We don't have any Bolu in the room, right? In English, that's fail. No, don't let me fail Bolu. 40, just in case there's a Bolu in the class. English, Bolu was very, very poor in English. She failed. Then in biology, she was not even absent at all. Raphael tried, Abby. He tried. He scored 50-50. He was an average student. Emeka scored, Emeka was a troublesome boy, but he was also good. He scored 65 in maths. He was good in calculation. He tried. He scored 50, 70. Adamu, surprisingly, Adamu scored 50, 40, but he hates biology. He scored 15. Tolu. Anyway, let's stop there. Not to waste our time. Now, A, please just accept it this way. This is the Zion grading approach again. A is, so we have mean, we have marks, right? Like they say, you score an A if you score between 90 and 100, isn't it? You have a B if you score between 80 and 90, if I'm right. This is going to be like 80 to 100. A1, A2, 90, then 70 and 90. Abi? And then you have a C if it's called 50 and 70. You have a D if it's called between 40 and 50. And then you have a E if it's called between 35 and 40. And then you have a F, 0 to 35. Now, if you could remember, or if you don't, go back to your results card, something, something, something. You realize that they graded you A, B, C. So now we want to enter the grade for this subject. This is where we use the if function. We have the grades here, static. We've shown the student the marks, but we want to also show them the grade. Here you scored in A, in math scored A. This is A, 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 B. So what happens? We use the if function, which is also a formula. I'm just going to show us, very simple, not complex. So the logical test is if B2. Now, I'll do it first time, I'll do it second time, just to show us the various steps that could be inside. If B2 is equals to what? Now, that won't flow very well here, so I just have to do the first step, second step together. Now, remember this, your comparison, is it comparison functions? Yes, where you have this is greater than, right? This is greater than, this is less than. These are comparison functions. Then this is equals to. So back here again, my if, let me use this. If B2 is greater than 90. Let me just use than 90, remember? K2 is 90, or you can enter it directly. It's greater than 90. Value if true is what? A. Value if false. I'm going to show us something else again, but let me just finish on this. Value if false is what? Let's say 0. Let's just put 0 there. Then I click OK. So what happens? This guy has an A, isn't it? I want to centralize this. And then you can drag down. You can see that all of these guys, they couldn't fall into the criteria. So ideally, we probably have to get another, write another formula again and so on, if B3 is greater, but that makes it clumsy. So this is what we are going to do. We're going to say, I'm going to go back to this formula again. Now, what I've just shown you is a one step of the formula. This is a one step of the formula. If this is greater than this, give me this. That's what it means. If this is equals to this, or is greater than this, or contains this, or whatever, give me this. That is one step. But in this scenario we have here, we need to go 2 steps. We need to go 2 steps, or probably, in fact, no, not just 2 steps. We need to go about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 steps. So what we are going to do is this. If B2 is greater than 90, let me show us the second step. I have done value if true, gives me an A. Value if false, do another if again. If B2 is what? Is greater than 70. If B2 is greater than 70, right? Then that would be what again? Before I continue, let me, so that you have the logic of what I'm trying to type here. It's the same logic I'm following myself anyway. Let me just show something here. Look at this formula. If B2 is greater than 90, look at it. logical test. This is the logical test. Value if true. This is the value if true. Value if false. This is the value if false. I hope you understand that now, because I'm going to use this same logic into the formula I'm creating. Now, let me go back. Just watch out for this same logic that I'm using here. Value if false. I'm saying again equals to if, again, B2 is greater than my B, right? Then I enter the logic. That is the value if true. Again, will be what? B this time around. And then, comma, value if false is going to be, let me put a 0, close it. If I drill down, if B is greater than 70, sorry. We have to make the formula again static. If B2 is greater than 90, or if B2 is greater than K3. What is changing here? K is not changing, is the row number. Yes, so when you drill down on a column, the row number changes. Everything is 0. Still giving me B3, B4, B5 is greater than K4. Everything should be 0. So assuming the maker scored 70, 71, automatically this will be B. Yes. So that is for the first step of the formula. This is more like a nested formula inside a nested formula. However, we can use so we can keep nesting this formula in between each other to arrive as a first step, second step, third step, fourth step. Or we can try the OR function. Is that the next thing? So I can either use the OR function to say equals to if, again, if B2, this time around I'm using for English, if B2 is greater and equals to 90, greater and equals to, yeah, because that's from 90 upwards. Value if true should be A. Value if false should be what? Now, this time around, I want to use the OR function. Or C2, the same C2 is greater than and equals, if C2 is greater than or if C2 value true is, I can't use this here, sorry. If B2 is greater than 90, or if B2 is greater than I'm afraid I won't be able to type all of this into that formula bar. I can, but I won't understand what I'm doing. I'd rather type it directly. if B2 is greater than 90, or if B2 is greater than 90A, or if B2 is greater than K3B. B2 is greater than, I'm using C now. Or if C2 C2 is greater than 50, value if true is C, and then the value if false B2 is greater than 90A. B2 is greater than 90A. C2 is greater than K3. The value false is if K2 is greater than, if C2 is greater than K3B. Value true. The value if false is if C2 is greater than K4. Value if true is C. The value if false again if C2 is greater than K5. The value false is D. If not, value false is E. Let me stop at that level and see what has happened. Again, it's going to be really messed up. 7 here. K3, K6, K7, no, K3, then K5, 90, A if C2 is greater than K3, B if C2 is greater than K4, C C2 greater than K5, D if not E. K5. It's my C2. So I'm trying to just get my formula right. C3 is greater than 90A, C3 greater than K3B. If C3, this might be the reason. K2. I see why now. Great. E, D, 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 A. Okay. So can we look at the formula? Looks complex, right? Actually, it's sorry for me not being articulate or not doing that more better, but the formula is correct now. And what we have just done, if we look at it in this place, it's everything is right inside this place. That was the reason why I didn't want to, because I won't be able to highlight what I'm doing, you know. That's the advantage of sometimes typing your formula directly from here. So basically what I've just done is, let's read through it. As you can see, I have 4 steps. It's basically a 4-step formula. I've not included this guy here. I've not included this guy here. If it was a E, this is meant to come to an F. If I have to do that again, I have to probably nest this formula. But let me just explain before I do that again. If this was 80, this will increase to, okay, this is what we're working with. Okay, good. Yeah. So we are working with C, the C section now. Look at it very well. I'm using the if. In the if function, I said if C2, is greater than 90, give me A, or give the candidate A. Now, the next one should have been false, value if false. So rather than using the value if false, I could jolly well use this simple example I used here. If A2, let me just use a simple example here, value if false. Value if false, B. Let me put it that way. So that means, assuming this person scored 80 here, particularly this one will come to B, right? As you can see. But let's concentrate on this. So what's this formula? This is a simple part of formula, which is if B2 is greater than 90, A equals to B. If not, give him B. That is the if. So what I did here was to expand the if formula, right? To accommodate each of these levels. I mean, from A to E, basically. And then, so if C2 is greater than 90, give me an A. Now, if the value if false is where I imputed another if again, that if C2 again is greater than K3, the value, it would have been A if it is true. But because it is not A, it's going to apply another if function again and say, it's going to apply another if function and say, sorry, my battery. No. Okay. So it's going to apply another if function again and say, if C2, which is the next level, if the same C2, if it is greater than K3, which is, if it is greater than K3, which is 70, then the answer should be B. That means that candidate scored a B. However, again, we said if it is not B, what should be the false? The false again, apply another if function and say if C2 is greater than K4, which is this time around a C, then if it is greater than the minimum of C value, which is 50, then it should give us a what? It should give us a C. If not, it should apply another if function and say if C2 is greater than K5, it should apply a D. So we can continue on and on to pick up all these levels, right? And then that way automatically, and do not forget to always add your $sign so that the numbers won't change when you are drilling there, especially when you are applying the same formula for a whole range of, of students and thereabouts. Sorry, this is the column we are working with. So as you can see, automatically this figure will change. Don't forget all these things are also related. If, for instance, this could be a summary of a student's mark from the test to the, you can have your list somewhere where you have the student's name, the test score, the exam score, and any other score that's going to be added, and then you input everything, and then everything here comes a summary, and then we create the formula to automatically give us the grade, and boom, that's just it. So we have our grade here. As long as we change the parameters on this grade to this, we automatically change. It's just a match function of whatever formula we have here. Now let's look at, come in please. Okay, let's look at the OR function now. For basically for the OR, the AND, the OR. Okay, let's look at the AND or the OR or the NOT. Sorry if I get mixed up in this. The AND on the OR, the AND it's a logical function that has to do with compulsorily a logical function. You can have what we've done here are nested logical functions. So I have this is a logical function, this is a logical function, this is a logical function, this is also a logical function, two logical functions. Let me give an example. I have 50, I have 60. And I said, I want to apply a function on 50 and I want to apply a function on 60. If I say AND, it means I am combining, I am giving two conditions that both conditions must be true. If I say AND, that is two conditions must be true. Two conditions or two logical conditions must be true. If I say OR, it means either of those two logical conditions must be true. And if I say not, it means it's basically the reverse. That is, this condition must not be, if this condition is not true, then return this. So I'm just going to demonstrate this. For me, the if function is the killer. The AND function, yes. So let's just quickly demonstrate the AND function and the NOT the or function and possibly the not function. So I'll go into this. So if I say, for instance, equals to if equals to if this is h11, right? This is I11. Now I'm testing for the hand function now, and I said equals to if 50, if 55 is greater than h11, value if true. Yes. Value if false. None. No. I close it. That's a yes. But okay, let me call this logic. Now let me try for the hand. This is one function. But assuming I bring this function and then I said and again, if 55 is greater, do I even need to go this far? If 55 is less than 60, value if true. No. If 55 is less than 60, sorry, I've discarded that. If 55 is greater than H11, hmm, and five is greater than H11, yeah, logical 2, and 55 is less than 60, true. Now see what happened here. If 55 is greater than H11 and higher than high 11, it returns a true for me. However, what if I say if 55 is greater than H11 and 55 is greater than I11? It will return a false. Why? Because 55 is greater than H11, but it is not greater than I11. And so it's going to return a false because both conditions, these are two conditions, are not correct. But however, if I use or, it will return a true because one of the conditions is correct. Do we get it now? Let me recap. Like I said again, let me use or here. For the same condition, if 55 is greater than H11. And again, if 55 is greater than I11, please, I'm using hand here. It's going to return false. Why? Because 55 is greater than H11, which is this, but it is not greater than I11. So it's going to be false. But if I use the OR function, it's going to be true. The reason why it will is because 55 is greater than H11, although not greater than I11. However, is greater than H11. So as far as this thing is concerned, it is fine. Now, what I was trying to initially do was we can use the AND function in this place. If 1240, can we call it a day from here? I guess I have to be faster than this. Please pardon my trying to sort out myself too at some points. Let me see what we still have. Yes, left, right count. Okay. I hope we understand the logic of the hand and the whole. You can actually build, more logical functions in between. You can build more logical functions in between. So for instance, which means if this is right, then it should apply to this. If this is right, it should apply to this, and so on. I would rather we move on from there to, okay, the not is also as simple as that. Not means not be 50 is greater than 40. False. Do you know what that means? 50 is greater than 40, isn't it? True. 50 is greater than 40. But not will give you the reverse. Not is like the devil. It will always give you the reverse. Say no. 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2. That's basically what it means. So you use not to test the reverse side of a logic. 50 equals to 40. It's going to tell me it is true. You understand what I'm trying to say now? So not is the reverse of what the truth is. Not is the devil. Don't say I say that. Okay. So basically, I think we're going to take a pause on logical functions today. I have just 4 participants. It seems we're wearing out. I think we can call it a day. Any quick question before we move on? So I guess we can call it a day. Thank you, everyone. And the class continues tomorrow.